over a little bit. I can't see you very well.
I tried to figure out how to do it short and sweet. I did a draft last week, and then I ended up adding more to it.
I'll go through that. It's good information. I was just like, okay, yeah. Oh. There's a link there. This could take me forever.
Yeah. Well, and the links are just, I mean, you'll go down the trail if you start.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, more is better than less.
So what's new with you? Anything? I don't think I'm gonna let the girls babysit your house anymore.
Why is that?
Well, because they just think that the baby is the coolest thing ever, and they want one. And I'm like, I don't want to hear those words come out of your mouth again.
They want one, do they?
Hey, welcome.
Thank you. Well, there you go.
Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you. Glad you can make it.
Tell them they can
lost
have
the bet
as
again.
many as they want after 25.
No, we have 4 rules at my house. You know, the 4 rules before you have a baby. And this is like when they were little, I was making them repeat this. You have to get a job, get married, or I'm sorry, it was finish high school, finish college, get a job, and get married before you have a baby. And so I'm like, what are the 4 rules? And they would repeat those. And now I'm like, what are the 4 rules? And they're like, gosh, Dad. You know, I'm like,
Indoctrination.
they're good rules, though.
They are good.
So 1900?
Close. 15 seconds. This is a high quality piece of print work here.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. I was gonna throw it away, but I thought at least I put it in my car or something first, just because of how well it was printed. You know, the heavy duty paper and.
All right. It's 7 p.m. in Gardner, Kansas. Time for the Gardner City Council meeting up in its order. Would you please rise with me and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So pretty light agenda coming off the new year today. We don't have any presentations or public hearings. We'll move on to public comments. Members of the public are welcome to use this time to make comments about city matters or other items on the agenda that are not part of a public hearing. Ground rules are 5-minute clock, no profanity, no personal attacks. If you approach the podium, please state your name and address for the record. Other than that, the podium is now open.
Hi, I'm Rylan Meyer. I'm here for citizenship in the community. And my address is 530 South Meadowbrook Street.
Hi, my name is Jessica Cowell, and I'm here for the Merit Badge 2, and my address is 1199 East Santa Fe, Lot 422.
Hi, my name is Shelby Harding. My address is 31828 West 172nd Street, and I'm here for citizenship in the community merit badge.
Thank
Very
you,
nice, ladies.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
They didn't look very scared. I'm really disappointed.
Anyone else wishing to come forward to address the council? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there any member of the council wishes to remove an item from the consent agenda? I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Melton, second. Baldwin? That we approve the consent agenda. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, any abstentions? Consent agenda passes. There's nothing on the planning and zoning consent agenda and no committee recommendations or old business. New business item number 1, consider accepting annexation with landowner consent. Larry Powell, come bearing more good news.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have received back on December 13th, annexation request, voluntary annexation request for landowner consent. And staff recommends the council adopt an ordinance annexing land commonly known as unincorporated tracts in Johnson County, Kansas, owned by Anita Carpenter, 27010 West 199th Street, Gardner, Kansas. 66030 containing approximately 1.87 acres more or less. Legal descriptions attached. This meets all the requirements for the voluntary annexation requirements by KSA statute. There is no need for public hearing, public notice, or extension of service plan requirements that apply to other annexations of this request. The paperwork is in order for your adoption.
Okay, thank you very much, Larry. Any public comments on new business item number 1? Seeing none, any questions for Larry or staff about this agenda item? Looks pretty cut and dry to me. All right, thank you very much, Larry. I'd like to entertain a motion on new business item number 1.
So moved.
Second.
Motion Melton, second Winters, that we accept the voluntary consent annexation agreement and consent annexation request of Anita A. Carpenter and adopt ordinance number 2644, an ordinance annexing land to the city of Gardner, Kansas. City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Roberts,
Yes.
Councilmember Winters,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Councilmember Gaversick,
Yes.
Councilmember Melton,
Yes.
Ordinance 2644 passes. New business item number 2, consider revising the use provisions for communications and utilities, public utility facility major in the Gardner Land Development Code. Larry?
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. This is a request for the council to request the Planning Commission to take under advisement the change in our land development code to allow for our public infrastructure majors, which in this case would be our sanitary sewer plant, our water treatment plant, electrical generating plant, and possibly, depending on size, substations, to be allowed as an allowable use within an agricultural zoning district. Currently, there are conditional use provisions for these. Since we're now under the taking the steps to annex the water treatment plant, which is currently zoned in an ag type zone within Miami County, it seemed to us that one of the best actions we could take to bring our sewer plant into compliance and to allow the zoning to remain the same within Miami County, so that at some point in time in the far distant future, if that plant were to be done away with, the zoning would be compatible with the existing zones that surround it. So this is a request to actually add uses to our additional land development code for those particular uses, which doesn't exist at this time except as a conditional use permit.
Okay.
So that would be the action that we're requesting.
All right, thank you, Larry. Just clarification. You mentioned sewer plant, you actually meant water treatment plant, correct?
Actually, it's for both, because our sewer plant is actually a non-conforming use right now.
Okay.
And so this would actually bring that into compliance as a conforming use, plus it allows for the water treatment plant to be in a conforming use at the same time if it's annexed into the city limits.
Great, thank you for that clarification, Larry. Any public comment on new business item number 2? Seeing none, any questions for Larry or staff? Okay, I'll entertain a motion on new business item number 2.
Moved. Second.
Motion Gregorczyk, second Melton, that we direct the Planning Commission to consider revising the use provisions for communications and utilities to permit public utility facility major as a conditional use subject to additional standards and additional zoning districts, including the agricultural district. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? New business item number 2 passes. New business item number 3, consider adopting a resolution describing the 2019 corporate limits and boundaries of the city of Gardner. Michael Kramer.
Evening. This is essentially a housekeeping item. The city is required by state statute to keep their city boundary legal description up to date, and so we've gone through and we've added the properties that were annexed in 2019 and made sure we've got those all in our corporate limits and a description, and so if you'd like, I'm sure Sharon could read the whole thing to you.
It's a
Hey,
lot
you know
of
what?
pages.
It's a short meeting. Let's go ahead.
It's a lot of pages. Yes, yes. All right, well, thank you very much, Michael.
Thank
Any
you.
public comment on new business item number 3? Seeing none, any questions from the governing body? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion on new business item number 3.
So moved.
Second.
Motion Melton, second Gregorczyk, that we adopt resolution 2047, a resolution describing the corporate limits and boundaries of the city of Gardner, Johnson County, Kansas, a city of the second class. City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Winters,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Councilmember Gaversick,
Yes.
Councilmember Melton.
Yes.
Councilmember Roberts.
Yes.
Resolution 2047 passes. And that, everybody, is the end of regular business. Yeah,
I'm gonna beat Lee's record
7:07.
unless I drag this
Yeah.
out.
Council updates. Does staff have anything for council? I'm going to start with Chief Belcher.
No.
All right. City Clerk.
Man, that was quick.
We do have open committee positions still,
Yes.
and we have applications coming in. We have begun setting up interviews for some of the committees. We do need to set an interview team for the UAC and some of the other committees. I think CPAC has several applicants.
Okay, so for the Citizens Police Advisory Committee and for the Utilities Advisory Committee, we have current openings. Who would be interested in serving on the UAC first?
I will.
I know you would. You've served on the UAC every selection, so.
There's more than just those two. Don't we have some for parks and for ADA?
Parks and for ADA, I think we have enough applicants to fill the spaces.
I mean,
So we-
Parks and Public Works.
Right, so we have a team for planning commission.
Yes, we do.
We need a team for the rest of them. They come.
Correct.
So it's gonna be more than just those two.
So Randy, would you be able to consider the utilities position? Okay, so you and Mark could handle the utilities.
Sure.
So we've got a consensus to have those two on that committee. For CPAC, Rich, and, okay, so
that'll be
council
fun.
president and vice president will be serving on
It's gonna get ugly.
the CPAC. For Public Works and Accessibility.
Oh, we got two.
Public Works and Accessibility. Tori, would you be able to serve on Public Works and Accessibility? I can do that one too. Okay, Todd, all right, so Tori and Todd will be Public Works and Accessibility, and the other one is Parks. Oh, that's kind of a soft spot for you, you know, you're gonna be able to do three committees?
I don't want to do three, but maybe I should parks.
All right,
I can do the
Public Works?
The Public Works.
Okay, so Tori and Mark on Public Works and Accessibility. What's their name? Todd.
Boy, you're not gonna make the meeting. It's not gonna be a record setter at
Todd
this point.
and how about you, Randy, on Parks?
My pleasure.
Parks. Okay, Todd and Randy on Parks. So I believe we have the interview teams ready for all four.
And I'll be contacting everyone to start setting up.
Great. That's wonderful. Thank you very much, Sharon. Appreciate it. Anything else for the body? Okay. City Attorney.
No.
Wow.
Very, very concise. Exactly.
I don't think
All right.
legally you can do that, can you? It's gotta be longer. It's gotta
Public
be-
Works, Michael Kramer.
The collective sigh from my
No.
patrons here. No, I have a couple items, and the first one I've got a slide if Sharon can pull that up for us. In 2019, we went through and revised our purchasing policy for the lake, and it allows us to sell properties between the lot and the lake. The one on your screen here, though, they'd also like to purchase property that the city of Gardner owns between the lot and the road right-of-way for the county. And, you know, staff's opinion is if it's okay with the county and it works for them through their planning and zoning, you know, we don't see any issues with selling the additional property. But before they went out and spent a bunch of money doing surveys, et cetera, did want to bring it before council and get a consensus, and that, you know, you didn't see any issues with that. The next slide shows where it's located there along Gardner East Road.
All right, well, this is still considered surplus land even though it's away from the lake shore, correct?
Correct.
So it would be under the same pricing structure that we currently have for our.
I think that'd be appropriate.
Yeah, okay.
And are we maintaining this now?
No.
No, okay.
Is the landowner actually doing that maintenance?
I believe that it's a combination of the landowner and then if there's a little bit by the county.
Okay.
Is there any issue if we did it in this case for other areas that may want to do the same thing that we wouldn't want to do?
No, I don't really know of any. I think we'd look at them stuff like this, I think we'd look at on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
At least at a staff level.
Okay. All right, I don't see a problem
Looks fine to me.
necessarily, if the rest of you are okay with that. As we've checked with parks, they're not interested in using that for anything.
Oh, yeah, that'd be perfect soccer stadium right there.
I was thinking more of like a boat ramp or something like that, but we already have one of those. Okay, all right, well then, I think we've got consensus, we can move forward with that. What else do you have for us, Michael?
That's all I really had. I did want to let you know, though, on the sidewalks and snow removal, before the snow season this year, we did reach out to some other neighboring cities and kind of looked at their policies. We also looked at some of the federal guidance that we could find. And, as far as the neighboring cities, they run the gamut, but both like Olathe and Leawood are similar to ours. Leawood still is the abutting property owners responsible for the sidewalks and ramps, and they have 48 hours. Olathe, their ordinances don't really give a time frame. I did talk to their codes, and they really hadn't had many complaints or issues to deal with in the past. And interesting, Overland Park has no ordinance requiring sidewalk and snow removal. They do have a council policy whereby they strongly encourage snow removal, but they do not have any ordinance. And the only time that they would go out and do any kind of snow enforcement is if a resident or a contractor is actually piling up snow and blocking a sidewalk. So if it's there and it's fallen naturally, they're not going to go out and do any enforcement. So in reviewing our ordinance 2, it was revised in 2016 in the fall, and I attached some of the minutes from the ADA committee where that was reviewed to an email today. I'm sorry it went out so late with the holidays and with being out. I'm still catching up a bit, so I do apologize for that. But it was reviewed quite thoroughly in 2016. I think staff believes it's adequate, and I think that Laura's here and she's done a really good job in notifying folks of violations and working with them through the normal codes process.
If you don't mind, I have a question. And I know one of the problems is, and I see this from my office frequently, when the sidewalk's cleared off and the truncheons, I think, is that what they're called? As the trucks go by with the plow just pushes snow and it goes right over the truncheon, and then it blocks that. Now, is that then, if the sidewalk's already been cleared, is that then the property owner's responsibility to clear that off again?
Yeah, the ramps themselves are the adjacent property owner's responsibility, and our drivers do attempt to drag that snow on past the ramp, and oftentimes do a really good job of doing that.
I know it's going to happen because it's got to push somewhere, and as you're turning that corner, it's just going to slide off the side. But I just wanted to make sure we understood that is their responsibility, even though they've already cleared it once and it gets pushed back up there.
Right, and it'd be no different than like your driveway or something.
Right.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Larry, what have you got from economic development?
We closed out the year with 1,175 permits, which is more than double last year, total number of permits, and 157 new home permits this year. So it was a very productive year from construction point of view. It appears that we're getting ready, if that map that you adopted tonight as part of the boundaries, if you were to look at that, three of those new areas that we adopted are new subdivision areas. Plus, we have our first large apartment complex that's starting up on 167th Street, University area this spring. So it's going to be a very busy construction season from the housing standpoint. We're expecting also quite a little bit of commercial development on South Gardner Road. And along with several major road projects the city has planned for this year, it's going to be a bit difficult, to say the least at times, to get around town. So we would beg the public's endurance and patience while we make these modifications and changes in the road system and improvements. It'll be better when we're done. So it's going to be an interesting year, and we just want people to know that it's going to get started pretty quick if the weather doesn't pile up on us too badly here in the wintertime.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be all.
Thank you, Larry, and I know that your staff has been very, very hard at work, as well as Public Works, trying to get those projects out the door. So, thank you from the governing body for your work on that. Jason Bruce.
No, sir.
Nothing. Yeah, it's the down season for you guys, isn't it?
There's never down season.
I got the email saying that soccer is coming up, so.
And we're getting seasonal staff on board too. Applications are due February 1st.
Okay.
We'll see plenty of those.
All right, so for all those who are watching on video and all the young people who are looking for summer jobs, come to Gardner City Hall and get those applications.
14 and over, please.
Yes, 14 and over, yes. All right, thanks, Jason. Gons Garcia.
Just a quick update. The Board of Miami County Commissioners held a public hearing on December 27th regarding the Hillsdale annexation petition. City staff, Burns and McDonald, CA contractors attended the hearing. We presented the reason for the annexation. There were 3 Miami County residents that were against the annexation, and 1 that was against the annexation and the expansion. So the public hearing will remain open until January 8th, and there should be a final decision made on January 15th.
Okay, great. Thanks for the update, Gons, appreciate it. City Administrator.
Yeah, you might have noticed Matt's not here. He had a family emergency late in the afternoon, so he apologizes for his absence. He and I went over the budget calendar for the upcoming budget season, so we'll be reaching out to council members individually on different topics of interest that you've expressed, but we're working on that now. Wanted to give a shout out for Gardner U. We only have 1 applicant so far. We are going to start a new PR effort by the end of the week to try to up that, but encourage people that want to know how city government works to get involved. And but right now, Danika's the only one enrolled. So.
Oh, Danika's the only one, huh?
But we do have 1, so we're gonna put a video together and put it out and see if we can get more applicants.
I think it would also behoove us, Jim, to maybe get involved, getting the high school students and the government curriculum involved in Gardner U.
Yeah.
Don't we have to be, I think they would be 18 though, don't we, for Gardner U?
Nope, there's no age limit.
Oh, okay.
It's basically just training on city government. I think that a lot of the younger folks, especially those who might be interested in government in the future, would benefit quite a bit from Gardner U.
Yeah, we had 1 last year. I think it was 16.
Okay.
We can sign up 3 scouts right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Really earn your government badge. You could be a Gardner U. Then, So, all right, well, we'll go ahead and get that out. I think we should probably also reach out to the school district and see if they might be able to promote some of that curriculum as part of the government curriculum.
I also wanted to thank Michael and Jason's staff and Laura for working on the snow removal thing. The best approach at this point is compliance, and Laura did a great job of reaching out to all the property owners to get them on board, and I think we'll see a better result the next time.
Yep, and Laura's here. Thank you, Laura, for your diligence in that. I know it's a pain to serve all those notices, but did a good job. All right. Does council have anything for staff? I'm going to start with Council President Winters.
No.
Okay. Council Vice President Melton. You're going to drag us down.
It was trying to. How much time was it?
Stop.
No, I just want to say I'm excited about what's going to happen in 2020 for us. It's going to be an awesome year, and I think a lot of people around the metro are going to go, "What is going on down there?" So.
Yeah. So what is going on down there?
Right. So
It's usually been in past years.
Yeah. So that's about it, though.
All right,
So-
great, thanks, Rich, appreciate it. Councilman Gregorczyk.
I don't have anything besides to wish everybody a happy New Year 2020, and I think there are some great things to come for our community. So
Absolutely,
happy New Year.
thank you. Tori Roberts.
I don't have anything. I'm good.
Wow, awesome. Mark Baldwin.
No.
Oh. I think we're gonna beat the record. All right, well, the only thing I've got is, again, I want to thank Parks and Rec and Public Works for their amazing work on snow removal, particularly with the second snowstorm that we had, where we had a lot of slush and I was driving on roads in Kansas City, Missouri, and it was a real struggle. A lot of people were slipping and sliding, but we weren't having those problems in Gardner. It's thanks to you guys that were working so hard to get that salt down and keep it down. It definitely was huge. So I want to thank you for that. And yeah, I'll echo the sentiments of Council Vice President Melton and Councilman Gorsuch that we've got a lot of big things coming this year, and looking very much forward to seeing what the next 12 months holds for our community. So with that being said, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
No. Motion, Gorsuch, second, Winters, that we adjourn. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? We are adjourned.
Did Ryan